India-Canada's diplomatic row has intensified. Visa for Canadian nationals suspended and they will not be able to avail visa services to India. Meanwhile, India's Ministry of External Affairs is yet to offer any clarification on this matter. The development comes after the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's allegations of Indian involvement in Khalistani leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing that has heightened tensions. In a Fox News interview, Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has said that his country was moving steadily closer to normalizing relations with Israel. The interview with the Crown Prince comes as the Biden administration moves on ahead with its efforts to broker the historic ties between the two regional powerhouses. Israel has normalized relations with 5 Arab nations, but recognition by Saudi Arabia is seen as a historic prize in West Asian diplomacy. The normalization talks include U.S. security guarantees and civilian nuclear help that Riyadh has sought. President Joe Biden also discussed Saudi Arabia and Israel ties during a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. At least 7 people were injured in a Russian attack on the central Ukrainian city of Cherkasy on Thursday. Emergency services posted a video showing rescuers digging in the rubble of a hotel hit by a missile and carrying out an injured man on a stretcher as a fire raged on. On the other hand, explosions sounded in Kyiv as a Russia-launched missile on Ukraine early on Thursday. Officials have said the air attack injured at least 18 people across Ukraine and damaged infrastructure facilities across the country. Azerbaijan says that Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh have arrived for talks after the breakaway region was forced into a ceasefire. Under the ceasefire agreement, as outlined by Azerbaijan, the breakaway Armenian forces must disband and disarm, and the region will be integrated as part of the country. Azerbaijan on Tuesday began what it called an anti-terror campaign against separatist forces in Nagorno-Karabakh. On the other hand, Russian peacekeepers in Azerbaijan's same region have taken in about 5,000 residents after evacuating them from dangerous areas. A cross-party delegation of Australian lawmakers travelled to the United States seeking the release of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. The group of Australian lawmakers urged US officials to drop their attempts to extradite Assange from a British prison to the United States. Assange is wanted on charges over WikiLeaks' release of confidential US military records and diplomatic cables. The delegation included lawmakers from the Labour government, the opposition Liberal and National parties, and the Greens. The delegation expressed that if the matter is not resolved, it will be damaging the bilateral relations between Australia and the US. The US Senate has backed US Air Force Chief General Charles Brown's appointment as chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. This comes as lawmakers move to confirm some of the senior officers whose promotions have been stalled by a Republican senator's blockade. Brown is a former fighter pilot who brings command experience in the Pacific to the position at a time of rising tensions with China. Before serving as the Chief of Staff, he was the commander of the Pacific Air Force's Air Component Commander for the US Indo-Pacific Command as well. The former US President Donald Trump criticized a prison swap deal that saw 5 Americans return from Tehran after they were swapped for 5 Iranians held in the US. The swap deal also included the unfreezing of $6 billion in Iranian assets. Speaking to supporters in Iowa, Trump blasted the Biden administration for releasing the money to Iran. The former U.S. president leaned on what he said was his record of securing trade concessions from China. He also expressed stress that he had put money in the pockets of Iowa farmers. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol has expressed that a military relationship between Russia and North Korea poses a threat to Ukraine and South Korea alike. Yoon's comments were made during his speech at the United Nations General Assembly. South Korea has pledged $300 million to reconstruction efforts in Ukraine in the coming year. Yoon also added that North Korea's nuclear and missile programs challenge the peace of the wider Indo-Pacific region and across the globe. The German police found 30 migrants in the back of a van on Wednesday. Police in the federal state of Brandenburg, which borders Poland, detained more than 108 people on Wednesday morning. The vast majority of them were from Syria. The chairman of the German Federal Police Union criticized the German government, saying that the relevant authorities are doing everything wrong in terms of illegal migration. The debate over migration is heating up in Europe, with Germany having suspended a deal to take in migrants and refugees arriving in Italy last week. However, they soon rolled back their decision after the recent arrival of thousands of migrants in the tiny Italian island of Lampedusa. Australia's centre-left Labor government has said that it would hold an independent inquiry into the handling of the COVID-19 pandemic to better prepare for the future health crisis. Australia closed its international borders and closed down cities, among other border restrictions that helped keep infections and deaths under control. It shifted the policy of living with the virus in early 2022 after a majority of the population was vaccinated. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has said that the three-member panel, which includes public service experts, epidemiologists and economists, will conduct the inquiry. Indigenous groups from across Brazil are staging a protest in the capital city to reject a bill that endangers the rights of over ancestral lands. The bill is currently being analyzed by the Senate's Justice and Constitution Commission. The proposed law, known as Marco Temporal, would impose a cut-off date for ancestral land claims in 1988. 1988, the year Brazil's current constitution was enacted, and according to the proposed legislation, any indigenous community that did not occupy that land by that date would not be allowed to make a claim. The Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi has said his country has no issue with the UN nuclear watchdog's inspection of its nuclear sites. Iran's move was a response to a call led by the United States, Britain, France and Germany at the International Atomic Energy Agency's Board of Governors meet. The IAEA has urged Tehran to cooperate immediately with the agency on issues including explaining uranium traces found at undeclared sites. The UN nuclear watchdog chief, Rafael Grossi, has condemned Iran's disappropriate and unprecedented move. Haiti's most powerful gang leaders have called for an armed overthrow of Prime Minister Ariel Henry. The gang leaders have urged Haitians to take to the streets against the unelected government in the latest escalation of a country undergoing humanitarian crisis. The Haiti gangs frequently engage with the police in gun battles and profit from activities such as extortion and drug trafficking. These groups have grown in strength since the 2021 assassination of the President Jovenel Moïse. And according to the UN estimates, more than 19,000 people have been displaced from the capital in recent weeks due to the outbreak of armed violence. A week after a flood wiped out much of the center of the city, furious Derna residents have demonstrated on the streets and torched the home of the mayor overnight. They accused the authorities of failing to maintain dams that protected the city and failing to evacuate residents before the storm. By Tuesday morning, the situation was again calm, but internet and phone links were down. The regional administration said it had suspended the mayor and fired the entire council as well. Residents say the disaster could have been prevented. Officials acknowledged that a contract to repair the dams after 2007 was never completed, blaming insecurity in the area. The Venezuelan government on Wednesday intervened in a dangerous and overcrowded prison in the center of the country. This was done to dismantle organized gangs operating in the jail. Authorities said they deployed some 11,000 officers to the Tocoron prison, where they seized dozens of weapons and bullets. The prison is considered one of the most violent in Venezuela and is home to the criminal gang known as Tren de Aragua. This gang is accused of committing crimes planned from the prison grounds. Venezuelan prisons are notorious for the ease with which inmates have access to weapons, drugs, mobile phones and computers with internet connections.
La vida y la tranquilidad, bueno, de las personas en las poblaciones también adyacentes. Con el pueblo unido hemos adquirido una gran victoria. Esta gran victoria para transformar completamente todos estos espacios a estas irregularidades que se encuentran en este espacio. Y inclusive detectamos unos túneles. Ese sistema de túneles hemos impedido una fuga masiva y hemos controlado la vida y la paz del pueblo venezolano. Información importante del vicepresidente. Entonces, la información en este momento, la situación está
UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has watered down Britain's commitment to tackle climate change. This delays the targets for changing cars and domestic heating to maintain the consent of the British people in the switch to net zero. Sunak said his government remained committed to its legally binding target of reaching net zero emissions by 2050. However, Sunak expressed that the government could afford to slow its progress because it was ahead of other countries. This delays a ban on new petrol and diesel cars until 2035 from 2030. Sunak said he had been forced to change the policy because of previous governments had moved too quickly on setting net zero targets. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres told climate summit leaders at the UN General Assembly meet that time was running out to tackle climate change, with the two-week UN climate summit due to start in November in Dubai. Guterres implored national policymakers to phase out climate warming fossil fuels. Guterres invited 34 countries to speak in recognition of their strong action on climate change. Some of the nations include Brazil, Canada, Pakistan, South Africa, and the island nation of Tuvalu.
We have to meet the $100 billion climate finance.
Air quality in the San Francisco Bay Area reached unhealthy levels on Wednesday. This comes after smoke from multiple wildfires from Northern California and Oregon drifted into the region. The air quality worsened to a point that the Bay Area Air Quality Management District upgraded its air quality advisory to spare the air alert. The alert bans burning wood, manufacturing of fire logs, or any solid fuel, both indoors and outdoors. And according to reports, some schools in the region even cancelled sport activities due to the smoke. The city's weather department has said that the air quality will likely not improve in the region until later this week. In one of the most dangerous places to be a reporter, Somalia's first all-women media outfit is set to expand their operations. Bilan News, created just over a year ago in the country's capital, is a women newsroom. The organization features a blend of breaking news and in-depth features focusing on the realities of living as a woman. In the 18th month of existence, Bilan has illuminated some of the most taboo subjects in Somalia, including a female drug epidemic, albinism, women living with HIV, and period shame. With more than 50 journalists killed since 2010, Somalia is the most dangerous country for journalists in Africa. World War I cemeteries in Belgium and France, the hills of Rwanda's 1994 genocide, and a former torture center in Argentina have been declared UNESCO World Heritage Sites. This comes as the UN agency ends a moratorium on memorial sites for human suffering. A UNESCO meeting in 2018 had debated whether the heritage list is a relevant tool for sites of memory associated with atrocities and conflicts. The agency said member states agreed in early 2023 that these sites can play a key role in peace building, which is UNESCO's primary purpose. The World War I sites encompass a series of military cemeteries, battlefield burial grounds, and memorials between the North Belgium and East France. A 108 structures of Hindu saint Adi Shankaracharya are being unveiled in the Indian state of Madhya Pradesh. Around 5,000 seers are attending the ceremony. The bronze alloy statue of the 18th century philosopher stands on a 75-foot high concrete pedestal. The monument, named Statue of Oneness, stands as a monumental tribute to Shankaracharya's legacy and profound teachings. MGM resorts are brought to an end. A 10-day computer shutdown prompted by efforts to shield from a cyber attack data, including hotel reservations and credit card processing. Details about the extent of the MGM breach were not immediately disclosed, including the kind of information that may have been compromised and how much it has cost the company. Indian markets opened lower, largely in line with Asian peers. The Nifty 50 briefly slipped below the 19,800-point mark during early hours, and analysts expect the Indian markets to underperform in the short term as US bond yields may become more attractive for foreign investors. Artificial intelligence startup OpenAI has debuted a new version of its DALL-E image generator and integrated it to its popular chatbot ChatGPT on September 20th. The move comes as the Microsoft-backed firm looks to capitalize on ChatGPT's popularity among consumers to maintain its dominance in the nascent generative artificial intelligence space.